Amy Fey, TLU class of 2007, and I had my bachelor's degree in fine art elementary education.
So my name is Tyler Salinas. I graduated in 2016 and entered in 2012, and I majored in English.
I'm Necie Green. I went to TLU, graduated in December of 2002, and I was a communication studies major with a minor in English studies.
So my name is Dellagiacoma. My main name was Ashley Body when I was at TLU. I graduated in 2004 with a BA in business, specializing in marketing, and a minor in Spanish. And originally from Houston, Texas, and I live back here in Houston now, which is pretty cool. So I went to TLU for 4 years. I did study abroad, had some campus jobs, and had some off-campus jobs. And I did end up going to get a master's degree as well afterwards. I went and got a Master of Divinity degree. I'm actually a pastor here in Houston, so a Lutheran pastor. So that was another couple of years after undergrad.
What was being first gen like while you were there at TLU?
It was different because my immediate family, one, didn't understand the stress of being in college and really truly how important it was for me to do my career, because the jobs that my parents had didn't necessarily require a college background. So they couldn't quite understand why I was spending so much time investing in this and money as well. You know, just that time, that effort, the blood, sweat, and tears into it, because they had successful jobs without the college. So a lot of it was kind of mixed around. Like some days it was, oh, great, we're so proud of you. And other days it was, well, why are you still going through this? So,
honestly, it was great. I mean, I don't know what it would feel like to have not been first gen, right? But specifically because TLU is smaller, it felt more manageable going to TLU when I first got there. Like I wasn't as terrified of everything, because it felt just like I actually knew my professors and stuff like that, so it was nice.
There wasn't like a strong affiliation of first gen students. It wasn't something that like we articulated a lot or was talked about particularly. And being a white lady from the city, I feel like I don't really like fit a lot of stereotypes around first gen students. I think it's all the little subtle ways that, you know, when you're reflecting on your college experience with the folks back home and they have no frame of reference for any of that, what it's like to transition to a dorm or navigate the social world or FAFSA. I mean, I don't know if anyone's parents who aren't first gen are any better at FAFSA than anybody else. It's a struggle for everybody, I think. But, you know, just probably a bigger leap in my support network than for others.
I would say it was a unique experience, but I didn't really feel like a first gen. I don't even think I knew what first gen was back then, like the whole term, until someone reached out to me and was like, you qualify for a first generation scholarship. And I was like, I'll take that money. I didn't know it existed, but just, you know, being in college, a whole new world for me, and trying to balance school and being on my own and that sort of thing. So, I mean, to me, I just saw it as growing up. I didn't realize maybe that my struggles were a little bit different than other people's, because I didn't have like that experience from family to draw back on.
Since you are essentially a pioneer in your immediate family for going to a 4-year university, what made you choose TLU over any other college that you could have possibly gone to?
Yeah, so this story is pretty funny, because before my senior year of college, I had never heard of Seguin, Texas. I had never heard of Texas Lutheran University. I'm a native Houstonian. So growing up, my mom had always told us, like, you will go to college. Like, it's not an option. You're going to college. So I knew I was going to go to school, but she told us we could go anywhere in Texas or anywhere in Louisiana, but we could not stay in Houston. Those are the rules. So I went to college fairs. So going into senior year, like junior year, I determined I wanted to go to Baylor. Like I was Baylor bound, visited the campus and everything. But when I went to a college fair my senior year, while I was waiting to talk to a recruiter at another table, there was nobody at the TLU table. So as I was like killing time, I wandered over, let me just pick up this information, chatted with the recruiter. Okay, that's nice. Thank you very much. Went on with my life. So like 2 weeks later, I went to another college fair somewhere else, and the recruiter was there again, and she remembered me and, asked me how I was doing, remembered my name and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, like she had to have seen how many people between when she last saw me and now, and the fact that she still remembered me and like asked me personal questions and stuff, which let me know that she remembered me. I was like, maybe I should look at this school. So I visited the campus, and from the moment I set foot on that campus, it felt like home. Like I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else. And I loved every moment of it. So I'm glad that that recruiter talked to me that day, because who knows where I would have ended up. But just to think that I had like literally never heard of this school, never heard of Seguin before my senior year of high school, when I thought I was going somewhere else, and then to end up there was just kind of amazing.
I think for me, besides scholarships, that's a big reason our parents didn't go to college, is it's a lot of money for their families. And so scholarships and the financial incentive was something we definitely talked about in my family. And I think it was the smaller community of TLU that was a lot more manageable and attractive to me than going to a large. I remember trying to visit like UT and Texas State and just being utterly lost and overwhelmed.
Right.
And again, like that's not, and my family didn't have any allegiances to a particular university. Like we're Longhorns, we're Aggies, we're whatever, so that like there's some sort of heritage that like you also have to navigate in making your decision. So it was just wide open, whatever worked best for me. And TLU seemed to do that. And I think that small community was also attractive to me, to be able to navigate all those different things.
I mean, part of it was being small because in the end, I was trying to decide between UT and TLU, and massive difference in size. So like part of it was because I knew I would probably do better with a smaller class size and stuff, but also I'm from Austin, and so I wanted something that was close but not in the same city as my parents. So I was like, Seguin is an hour and a half away. That's at least like some distance, which is why I ended up choosing TLU.
Okay, so the humorous answer is TLU had Coca-Cola machines, where the other universities I looked at had Pepsi. So that was, that was always my thing. I'm like, oh, well, they got Coke, so I'm good. They got the Dr. Pepper, I'm good. But no, I visited a couple of times, actually, there at TLU, and actually Dr. Vrooman, I got to sit in on one of his classes, and he scared me to death. Yet it was that good kind of scare, because it's like, oh, I want that. Like, I loved that feeling of not really knowing that I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to get there. It was that inquisitive type questioning thing. Just, I had to be there. Like after sitting through his one class, I mean, it was just that urge to, this is where I belong. This is where I want to be. And, I did sign up for classes with him and everything, but it was just the way it was all presented. Everybody was really friendly. You saw other students walking around, and they would wave to us little, tourists and stuff. And the staff was really great. So, I mean, overall, it just came to me. It was a no-brainer. I mean, honestly, once I visited on the way home, I told my parents, this is where I'm going.
What specifically helped you at TLU to navigate through college?
I think TLU is really good. The community is really good about surrounding you with a network of support. So like every staff member that you interact with is also a mentor, or can be if you want them to be. They're like happy to do so. So my advisor was Dr. Sitzler, and she actually has known my family, has known me my entire life.
Oh, wow.
But like she was just such a wealth of knowledge and knowing how to navigate the degree programs and the study abroad and how to do that in a way that is achievable with financial aid and just helping you navigate all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So she had sort of that formal role, but then there were all the informal mentors, the dean of students and my supervisors at the campus job and just other professors that I really connected with were all people that you could just kind of share your life with things that are going on, what you hope to do after college, and just be other people to be in conversation and be in relationship with you, and that you actually have those relationships with them. They're small enough classes that you can do that and they actually know you.
From my first campus visit, being introduced to some of the upperclassmen there who are literally still my friends to this day. They took me under their wing like a little sister, you know, from the moment I visited, which at the time, our director of campus activities, I think that was his title, he was African American. And so, like, as you know, TLU does not have a huge Black student population. And being from Houston, I was a very diverse high school. TLU was the size of my high school, but like diversity wise, it was totally different. And so just like meeting some of the students, having them tell me about BSU, I already felt like connected going in, and just knowing like that they were there looking out for me, getting plugged into all the stuff on campus. I was extremely active in like anything and everything, because the beauty of TLU is, at least at the time, it was so small, like you could literally do anything you wanted. So I was a guide dog, which that was what they called the people who gave the campus tours. I was a student ambassador, like people who were visiting high school kids who wanted to like have a weekend experience. They would sleep in my dorm room. Like I was in band. I was on the yearbook staff. I worked in the development office because I needed money. I worked for the Lone Star Lutheran as a columnist. So like literally anything I could get my hands on, I was doing at that campus, and I loved it. I was a resident assistant in Norm. So yeah, that was, I mean, I just did everything. I loved it. I could not get enough of that school. But that also helped me with loneliness, because being the first person in my family to go to college, like my family's very tight knit, and but I wanted to go somewhere where I was far enough to be kind of independent, but still close enough where like I could get home if I needed to in an emergency or something like that. So I used to wheel my little suitcase across the campus to a Greyhound station that was across the street, catch the bus to Houston on the weekends. But at like my first semester, it took a while to adjust. I was crying a lot and calling my dad, wanting to come home. But by second semester, they were calling me saying, when are you gonna come home? Maybe spring break. It's like, you know, once I got acclimated and everything, it really did feel like home, and I felt less lonely, and I felt like, you know, I was with my people, like they were my family. So yeah, being super involved on campus helped a whole lot as well, because I got to know faculty and administration as well as, you know, my peers.
Kind of two things. So I was a peer mentor when I was there. And I will say that my freshman year, I had a peer mentor that sucked. Like the program was, I loved being a peer mentor, and I think it was very helpful, but I had a person that didn't really know what to do. And that's why I became a peer mentor, because I was like, if they're going to be there, they better know what they're doing. So I was, that's kind of what motivated me to do it. So being a peer mentor made me have to know what our degree plans were. It made me have to know what kind of competencies I had to get, what all of those things were. So actually doing that job helped me better understand what I needed to graduate, which was helpful. TLU is really good at, because it's such a small university, a lot of things are offered at the same time, which makes it really hard. I was initially a double major, and different things like that. So it makes it really hard to figure out how to do multiple things at once. Not that, I mean, most people try. Most people do as much as possible. But because of that, I think a lot of people are really transparent of like, hey, if you're going to do this, you can't do this. Or if you're going to do this, you should, you know, keep in mind what's going to happen. So because of that culture, I think that helped a lot of transparency in terms of what my next moves would be and like what it would help me do or not do.
Okay, well, I loved Dr. Hoffman, and I honestly don't remember how I met her. I mean, I ended up taking her intro to geography class after I met her. I think I met her at some event. I couldn't even tell you, but like I loved her. Like instantly, that opening, that warm environment, and so I had really kind of like latched on to a couple of the professors there. Like, I mean, I loved Dr. Hoffman. Dr. Meterow was hilarious. I had him for my English classes, and then even she was Professor Hosiery at the time. And then it was Dr. Hosiery, but then she changed her name after I left because she got married. So I don't even know her name anymore. But I just had like those three or four professors that just like, they had my back. Like they didn't mind if I was having a bad day. And I'm like, I don't even know if I'm in the right class right now type of thing. And there wasn't that negativity, I would feel like at the bigger schools maybe. Yeah. You know, they knew me by name. I will admit to you, but you better not do it. I skipped a class once my entire life. I had never skipped a class, but I was in the ACU and I was just all spread out and I was working on stuff. And I looked at my watch and I'm like, oh, do I really want to pack all this up and go to this class? And I was like, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to skip it. Well, needless to say, my professor saw me there like after the class and he was like, oh, so you are here today. Okay. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could never do this again. You know, it was just that it's that environment, you know, and so, I mean, I definitely just feel like students need to just get that one or two teachers, you know, just get a couple of them that are just going to be there for you and not judge and just, you know that you have their back.
What advice would you give to current first-gen TLU students?
One of the things that, because my family I'm the first person in my family to have ever gone to college. I was so worried about freshman year doing things perfectly. Like everything, just like I had to just schedule everything the right way and do things that I was supposed to do. And then like I slowly realized like college is supposed to be about what I want to do and explore and be. And like sophomore year, I was like, I don't care if I'm supposed to do that thing. I want to do this thing instead. And I like curated my classes more towards like what I was interested in versus like what was going to set me up financially or whatever. Like, and I think I like became a better student and a better person and like was able to critically think better because I sought out things that were interesting to me versus like being just a business major because that would like I think a lot of first gens think that like they should go into a degree that's going to make them money. And like set them up financially because they might not have come from a stable financial background. And like, I think money shouldn't be a factor or like what you think will be stable shouldn't be a factor. One, because our entire world can be turned upside down from a pandemic and then nothing is stable. But two, whatever drives you and motivates you will in the end serve you better. So that's, I think, probably it. I think also maybe because TLU has a culture where everybody does everything, try everything, but if you realize something doesn't work for you, like it's okay to change course. Like I did too many things my junior year and I had to pull back my senior year because I wanted to focus on my thesis, and I like had to say no to some people in some groups, and it was really hard to do, but it made me turn in better work my senior year. So like say no if you really feel overwhelmed. Like it's okay not to feel pleased at all moments.
Oh man, that kind of ran into that last one. I would say don't try to fit in. Like definitely just be yourself. I mean, I was the quirky little one. A lot of the professors ended up just calling me like the smallest bulldog because I was just so little. But like don't change yourself to fit into somebody else's shoes. Like right now, it's such a great time to be yourself. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter if you're pink, purple, green, yellow, blue, whatever. I mean, just be yourself, express yourself, do what you love. Yes, maybe go to a party, you know, be smart about it, but go experience this because this is going to be the one time in your life where you don't have a lot of those adult responsibilities. So when you graduate, like that playtime is kind of over. Yeah. You know, just make your friends, find your professors, just enjoy being you for that amount of time and learn who you want to be as an adult.
Utilize the mentorships that are there because they're as fruitful as you want them to be. and they can take on any direction or area that you need them to. So I know, like with the business department, we had some of those like mixers and things with alums that were also became part of that network of mentorship of how you transition from student to career to professional, because that's another transition that no one else in your family has ever navigated before. And should I take them off in between, or how should I do that, you know? And so whatever it is that you need support in, there are people there that are willing to give you that support. And if you don't know where they are, just start with the ones you do know and ask them if they know where those networks or where those places of support are, and you'll get there, because we Bulldogs are a very small family and a very tight family. And if you run into one of us somewhere in the world, it'll be like you're just, you know, long lost cousin.
I would tell them basically, like, I guess, don't be afraid. You can do it. You can be successful. I like being the person in my family to start a legacy or create a legacy. I only had one cousin who attempted college. She was older than me. And the joke in our family was that she beat her parents back home. They dropped her off in Louisiana and she beat them back to Houston. So like, really, like when you don't have anybody in your family to look up to, like, you feel like, are you doing this right? Is it worth it? Like, you just doubt yourself. There's so many times, like, TLU is not an easy school. Like, it's very challenging. And so I would just say, like, believe in yourself, have the confidence, just think about the legacy that you're starting for your family. You're going to change lives. You can change the world, the leadership opportunities and things that are available to you at Texas Lutheran. Do not be afraid to take advantage of them. Get involved. Make people know who you are. Like, I don't know, it's just, there's so much opportunity there, and you'd be remiss to not just insert yourself into every single chance that you get to be involved. You may not be one of those people who gets seen, so you have to make yourself be noticed. And I feel like, I don't know what the demographics are there now, but I feel like it's still a small enough school to where that was one of the things that really attracted me, was the student-teacher ratio. When I went and I sat in on a business class, and just seeing like the personable interactions between the professors and the students and things like that. So that is so unique. That's not something you get everywhere. And I would just say, you know, and those professors there care about you. They care about you as a person, not just, you know, as a student. They're not just there to collect a paycheck. So I would say, you know, don't be afraid to get to know them personally and call upon them as mentors and guides throughout your career. Yeah, I was still really, I kept in touch with one of my professors there for a really long time till she got off Facebook, but I could probably still find her if I wanted to. But, you know, like even after I was gone from there, I was still reaching out to her as a mentor to ask her questions and stuff like that. So I think there's, you know, like it really is, it's the start of your life, and the connections you make there, they can change your life and last forever.